a lot more when you have that leverage of your thumb running right behind that, okay? So that's why I like the vertical grips. If I'm not clearing rooms and I'm not in close quarters, then I would probably shoot a C group or a C grip all day long. Flashlights, this one is white light and IR. It's Surefire. Arasaka makes pretty good ones too. I don't think it really fucking matters. I haven't had problems with either one. One thing you can do with these, if you don't have a cover, an IR cover, which are pretty much outdated now, and is to keep that glass kind of like clean. Otherwise it's going to have carbon buildup because you want this thing forward. Take a little bit of weapons lube and just kind of smear it over the glass part of your flashlight. And then when it gets too dirty and your light starts dimming down, you just fucking wipe it off and put some fresh lube on there. And it'll keep that glass nice and clean and visible. So I run a pressure switch on my Surefire, all right, and it's got a constant on and off right here. It's got, which I never ever use, but it's got the pressure one right here, so that way it's momentary, all right. When you start putting lasers and lights and all this kind of stuff on here, you want to make damn sure you know which switch does what. The last thing you want to be is on and op, or you're trying to stay stealthy and you have a fucking light AD, all right? You want to see a pissed off team of dudes have a light AD when you're in the middle of an op. That goes for you law enforcement guys too, all right? So make damn sure you know which switch is which. Same with lasers. You don't want to have a laser AD either. So keep that thing on IR, keep this thing on IR, and know which switch is which, okay? So moving forward back to sights, because I kind of got off track there. Actually, I think we need to take a fucking commercial break right now.
Hey bro, where'd you get that hat?
VigilanceElite.com.
Thanks bro, appreciate it.
Roger that.
See you later.
All right, welcome back from the commercial break. So, back to sights. All right, EOTech. It's what I like to use, all right? I've seen one of these things break and it was shot, and that's it. I know there was like some rumors going on, or I don't know, something about altitude or cold weather makes them deviate. I've been using this thing since 2004, I believe, 2004, 2005, and I always hit what the fuck I want to, okay? So I never noticed anything wrong with them, and I love them. So what reticle do I like to use on my EOTech? I like the night vision setting if I'm going to combat, because we primarily work on nods. But for civilians, I would probably save the money and not get the night vision one, because I'm not going on any ops as a civilian. But I like the single dot with the circle reticle around it. Now they have green. I get a lot of questions, green or red, what's better? Here's the deal, you're overthinking it. It's a fucking dot. You put it on the target, you pull the trigger, and it gets hit. If you're hunting leprechauns, I probably would not use a green dot. So there it is. All right. When you mount it, I like to mount it right where the rail meets the receiver here, okay? So it shouldn't be out here, all right? Some of these things, look, if you mount it back here, it's to a solid piece of metal. If you mount it up here, sometimes these rails can come loose, which means you just lost your zero. All right, so always mount it back here on the solid piece of metal here. All right. If you're into running the magnifiers, which are awesome, they work. You just flip them up. I don't have one because I don't really use it, but they are really good. Aimpoint has them, EOTech has them. I don't know if anybody else does, but you want to make sure you leave enough space here so that you can take it on and off and be able to flip that magnifier up without catching onto this thing, okay? Suppressors. What suppressors are the best? I don't know. But when I look for in a suppressor is, I'm not looking for what's the quietest thing, all right? These things are primarily to hide flash and muzzle flash, because if you're shooting at night, if you don't have a can on and you get a big fireball, well, guess what? Everybody knows exactly where the fuck you are. What do they think they're gonna aim at? Probably the fireball. So you put this thing on, it covers that muzzle flash, or now they make these other ones that they pretty much hide the muzzle flash, which actually, these things are pretty heavy. As cool as they look, they're not fun to pump around. They make your gun longer, and which means less maneuverable. So one thing we did when I was in the SEAL teams is we got those, I'm having a brain fart, but muzzle attachments. It hides the flash, doesn't do anything to the noise, but you're not running around with this big girthy looking piece of equipment here. So, but you can communicate a lot better with them on. So anyways, I don't look for what's the quietest suppressor. What I want in a suppressor is something that doesn't change my zero, whether it's on or off, okay? Which this one does change, I found out. This is in advanced armament, so I wouldn't recommend this. The ones that I like are Surefire, and we had some other ones that were, I think were Knights, and I never had to change my zero. If I didn't want to run this, I'd take it off. My zero with my EOTech was exactly the same as it was with the suppressor. All right, so that's what I look for when I'm hunting for a suppressor, is something that's not gonna deviate my zero, whether it's on or off. All right. That's about it when it comes to these, like combat setup. One thing I will say, once you figure out the placement, all right, and it's gonna vary from person to person, whether you want this forward grip forward or back here, all right? Once you're comfortable and you know where everything is and you don't want to change anything, make sure you Loctite all of this shit on there, otherwise it's gonna come loose, okay? All right, this is actually the rifle that I like the most that I own. It's the funnest one to shoot, very flat, not the most practical, but it's a war sport. They don't make them anymore. I don't know, but I love this thing. But this is about as simple. I still want to be able to use it if I need to, so that's why I put a flashlight on it. But this is kind of like my fun gun, if that's what you want to call it. But I got flip up sights. All right, if you go flip up, don't get those piece of shit plastic Magpul ones. All right, they fucking break all the time. Spend the extra money. I'm not bashing Magpul because these are Magpul, all right, but they're metal. Just spend the extra 50 bucks, get the metal ones, and they're not gonna break, okay? The plastic ones break all the time. So, plus they're kind of wiggly, so you're never gonna hold a zero with it. Same thing, I got the Radian charging handle on this one. Keeps it's nice and smooth, it's not grimy. This one has like the super 3-gun trigger from, I can't remember who. Same thing, EOTech, 36-yard zero flashlight, and I do really like shooting C-grip. just not for combat. So, but there it is. And this C grip actually does take, you can get a little leverage because it has this front hand stop up here to drive force behind. So, real simple, you know, nice and clean. Doesn't get in, nothing down here gets in nothing on here gets in my way at all. And honestly, this is what I would recommend to civilians. It's fun to shoot. It's super flat shooting. It's reliable. And it doesn't have all of that bullshit on it that you don't really need as a civilian. But anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week.